Welcome to the Natural Super Kids podcast, where you will discover practical strategies to inspire you to boost the health and nutrition of your kids. I'm Jessica Donovan, a qualified naturopath specialising in kids' health, and I want to make it as easy as possible for you to raise healthy and happy kids. Let's get into it. Hey, it's great to be back, and I hope you're doing well today. So today's episode, we are going to focus on our unique approach to kids' health here at Natural Super Kids, and also go into some of the naturopathic philosophies that drive our approach to kids' health. So in the last episode, I chatted about my journey personally and professionally to get to where we are right now. So I just wanted to kind of follow on from that and talk about the fact that when I launched Natural Super Kids, the online business, I started getting much more experience in kids' health. So the experience that I had up until that point kind of led me to become really passionate about kids' health. But as I became focused in on this area, I got more and more experience. And, experience and learning is kind of where expertise comes from. You don't just become an expert in a particular area without that experience. So just running Natural Super Kids and the clients and members that I've supported has given me such a big range of experience working with families, hearing about families' struggles when it comes to their kids' health issues and health concerns and conditions that they have been diagnosed with. And as I said, I've seen a diverse range of issues and conditions in a diverse range of people. So I've got that sort of knowledge that has driven what we're all about here at Natural Super Kids. And then there's the real life experience of being a mum. So my eldest has just turned 13, and so I am now mum of a teenager, and I feel like that real mum life experience through all of the stages up until now we get to experience those fun teen years, has really helped me to understand the real life struggles that mums go through. I cringe to think about the mums that used to come and see me before I was a mum myself and bring their kids along to see me, and some of the unrealistic advice that I used to share with them or expect them to kind of put into practice. I now know that it's tough. It's tough to make dietary changes for your kids when you're a busy mum and you've got, busy family schedules. And what the ideal is in terms of, what we want our kids to eat, or the supplements we might want them to take, or the healthy lifestyle changes we want them to make, encouraging them to do these things is one thing, but them following through is another. So there's challenges such as fussy eating and kids just not wanting to go play outside, even though we know that that's going to be best for them. So there's all of these kind of tricky challenges from being a mum. So I feel like because I am a mum of two, it gives me that real life mum experience to be able to support families more realistically with their kids' health struggles. And kids' health is a continual work in progress. I say this a lot when it comes to things like gut health. Kids' health is not something we achieve and then we don't have to worry about anymore. There's different stages and different challenges along the way. Maybe our child gets diagnosed with a particular health issue, such as ADHD or an allergy or eczema that wasn't present before. And then we need to learn about how to manage that and how to, optimize our kids' health so those symptoms of those conditions are reduced or managed. Maybe our kids move into the next developmental stage. Kids in the toddler years have very different needs than kids in the teen years. So there's all these different stages and challenges along the way. You know, kids can go in and out of fussy and picky eating tendencies. And so this was the reason that I really wanted to create an ongoing online membership where we can support and inspire mums along the way, along that journey of their kids' health. It was a real sort of driver for me. We initially had a 6-week program, and I soon found out that mums wanted more than that. You know, there was a certain amount you could learn in 6 weeks, but that support and that inspiration needed to be ongoing, even if we know we shouldn't be packing processed things in our kids' lunchboxes every day. You know, we need that that inspiration and that motivation to kind of get us back on track when life gets in the way. So that's what the Natural Super Kids Club really provides, which is our online membership program, is that ongoing support and inspiration and motivation and reminders of how important our kids' health and nutrition is. So I wanted to talk a little bit about naturopathic medicine principles. So I am a qualified naturopath, and so this is what drives my approach to kids' health. And so naturopathic medicine philosophy is all about prevention, treatment, and supporting optimal health through methods that encourage a person's inherent self-healing processes. So we are supporting the body to come back into balance, to prevent disease, to treat symptoms and disease, and to support optimal health. We don't want mediocre health, we want optimal health. And so that really is what naturopathic medicine is all about. And naturopathic philosophy treats the whole person. We're not just looking at the symptoms, we're looking at the whole person. And if you've ever had a consultation with a naturopath, you'll know that there's a whole heap of questions that we ask to determine that whole person health in an individual. And we aim to address the underlying cause of illness. This is one of the things that I love most about naturopathic medicine, is putting on my detective hat and figuring out what is going on. Yes, there's these symptoms and we can treat those with medications or even natural treatments, but it's much more challenging to figure out, well, why are these symptoms presenting? Let's dig a little bit deeper and get into the detective work. I see health, whether it's kids' health or adults' health, as one giant puzzle, and it's putting all of those pieces of the puzzle together. And that's what I, really love to do as a naturopath. So if we compare that with the medical model, the Western medicine approach to health and pharmaceuticals, first and foremost, modern medicine and pharmaceuticals are there to treat symptoms and treat disease. And so if we think about some of the common medications that are used in our kids, antibiotics are one of the most commonly prescribed medications for children, and they are there to kill infection that is causing the disease or the symptoms of the infection that are going on. So when we think about antibiotics, yes, they are, amazing at getting on top of infection, of killing bacterial infections that can cause so many problems in our kids. And we are very lucky these days as parents not to have to worry too much about infectious disease, having a major health implication on our kids. Of course, there are lots of infections around, but antibiotics, as well as a whole heap of other reasons, have kind of made us reassured as parents. And I, for one, am very glad that I live in a day when, if my child does get a serious bacterial infection, we have the option of antibiotics to kill it. So they definitely have their place. But what I find as a naturopath is lots of families will come and see me, or will seek out some online help or support because their kids are getting sick all of the time and they're on what I call the antibiotic cycle. And so they get sick with an infection, they go to the doctor, they get a script for antibiotics, which kills the infection. But antibiotics also have the effect of depleting immunity in a couple of different ways. And one of those is that they are wiping out our beneficial bacteria within our gut. And so we need to make sure that we are compensating by putting lots of those good bugs back into the gut after any course of antibiotics. And so that could look like probiotic supplements and fermented foods and drinks. But this is not often talked about when our kids are prescribed antibiotics. And so the antibiotics kill the infection and they wipe out those good bugs. And those good bugs are really important in a nice, strong, robust immune system. And so next time that germ is going around childcare or school, our kids pick it up much more easily because their immune system is not as strong and robust as it could be because all of these bugs have been depleted in their gut microbiome. And so they need another course of antibiotics. And so this is kind of the typical picture that I see lots of kids presenting with. And if we can go a little bit deeper and help to power that immune system with things like nutrients and herbs and healthy lifestyle options like sunshine, which is so important for our vitamin D levels, which is very important for a healthy functioning immune system, then we can prevent this constant need for antibiotics. And let's look at another medication that's commonly used in kids, paracetamol. And of course, paracetamol is really helpful for reducing pain and inflammation and also reducing fever as well, which is one of the common reasons that mums and dads will give their kids some paracetamol because they've got a fever. And again, if we think about fever as something that is actually really helpful for the body, yes, of course, we do need to bring fever down if it gets too high, but we don't want to be grabbing for the paracetamol or the Nurofen, the ibuprofen, I should say, too readily with our kids because that fever is actually a healthy part of immune function. When our kids' temperature increases, it helps our immune system to be stimulated and it helps to create an environment where that virus or bacteria that's causing the fever is not going to be able to multiply as readily and sort of take hold. And so, again, if our kids are having this kind of constant need for paracetamol, we might need to dig a bit deeper and figure out, well, why is that happening? And that's what naturopathy is all about. And another common medication used in kids is, of course, steroid creams, steroid inhalers, steroid medication in general. And so one of the common conditions that I see in kids is eczema. And a lot of these kids are using steroid creams and they can be really effective at getting eczema under control. They're very effective anti-inflammatories locally. So if we're putting a steroid cream on eczema, it's reducing that inflammation, which is helping the symptoms of eczema. But what's causing that inflammation in the first place? These are the sorts of questions that we're asking as naturopaths. As I talked about in the last episode, if you missed it, you can go back and listen to that. I sort of shared my story. And I talked about the fact that I was put on the oral contraceptive pill for skin and hormonal issues. And it was, I came to realize that it was only a Band-Aid solution. It would get rid of my symptoms while I was on it. But then when I would come off the medication, my symptoms would come back with a vengeance. So it's very similar often with eczema and steroid creams. You kind of develop this need for them because there's no other kind of advice given in terms of how can we get on top of this eczema without having to rely on steroid creams all the time. So where is this inflammation coming from that is causing the eczema? Is it an overactive immune system that is responding to things in the diet, foods, and environmental factors that is causing this inflammation? You know, what are the dietary triggers that might be leading to this inflammation? Are there toxins that are contributing to this inflammation? Is the gut contributing to the inflammation? Often it is. Are there nutritional deficiencies that are leading to a skin barrier that is not as robust as it could be? So these are the sorts of questions and things that we're thinking about as naturopaths when it comes to treating something like eczema, as opposed to let's just grab a cream and rub that on and that will help in the short term. And so, yeah, hopefully that gives you a bit more of an idea of the difference between a modern medical approach to some of these common conditions that we see in kids compared to a naturopathic approach to these common conditions that we see in kids. And for us specifically at Natural Super Kids, we really do aim to empower and inspire mums. So many of the mums or parents that come and see us or seek some support from Natural Super Kids, they're not getting the answers or the solutions that they want for their kids' health issues, and they're feeling uneasy about relying on medications often, and maybe the side effects that those medications are having on their kids. And so first and foremost, we want to empower parents to firstly navigate the confusing world of nutrition and health, to make it really simple for them, and empower them by helping them to realise that there are alternatives or complementary medicines that can help to address the underlying cause of their kids' health issues. And so I've talked about some of the commonly used medications in our kids, and I am definitely not anti-pharmaceutical medications. They can be really effective at getting on top of symptoms. And so often we will use natural medicines like nutrition and herbal medicine to complement what we're trying to achieve with the medication as well. So it doesn't have to be an alternative. It can certainly be complementary, which I think is really important for parents to know. It doesn't have to be either or. They can definitely work together. And I think it would be wonderful if our health system sort of embraced the combination of Western medicine and alternative modalities or complementary modalities, and how well they can really work together. And there is progress in this area. You know, there are a lot of doctors who are open to using things like diet and nutrition and herbal medicines and homeopathy and other naturopathic modalities, which is fantastic, but it still definitely has a long way to go. And it's also empowering for a lot of parents to know that there is something they can do. There are changes that can be made in their kids' diet and in their kids' lifestyle that can have a profound effect on their kids' overall health. And, you know, another part of our approach when it comes to kids' health is to be realistic. As I mentioned before, it's really easy to become overwhelmed and confused with all the health information out there. And naturopaths have a bit of a bad name for dishing out unrealistic advice when it comes to, you know, living a busy life. So, you know, a naturopath might recommend that you cut out sugar and dairy and gluten and take these 8 different supplements. And that is definitely not what we're about here at all. You know, we really believe in a realistic and sustainable approach to health. So we really aim to inspire you to raise happy and healthy and resilient kids by making one change at a time. And we really want to make it easy for you to implement healthy food and lifestyle changes that your kids will accept, that will make it easy for you. And, you know, that's really what we aim to do with the content that's on our website at naturalsuperkids.com, this podcast, and also for our members of the Natural Super Kids Club as well. And so we want it to be realistic. We want it to be sustainable. We know you don't want to rob your kids of childhood pleasures like choosing an ice cream flavour or sharing a birthday cake. And so we aim to be a voice of reason in the confusing, conflicting, and sometimes extreme world of health and nutrition for kids. And so that can be really refreshing for a lot of parents because they may have, seen other advice or gotten some help from other practitioners who have recommended things that would probably be really helpful and life-changing, but it just wasn't easy to implement. And as I said, it's one thing for us to know what's good for our kids, but it's another thing for our kids to actually accept changes to their diet, to their lifestyle, maybe adding in some supplements. They actually have to take them for them to be effective. So we love working with people in a step-by-step approach, and each step brings you closer to healthy kids or healthier kids, and that sort of situation that we want of optimal health, not just mediocre health. And so that really sums up what we're all about here at Natural Super Kids. And I hope that's given you a bit of an insight into, why we do things the way we do, and, the what you can expect with our content, with our consultations, with our online support, and all the different things that we do here. So that is all for me today. That would just I really just want to set the foundations in these first few episodes of the podcast, giving you more of an insight into who I am and my journey into naturopathy, which we discussed in the previous episode 2, and today more about our overall approach here at Natural Super Kids to kids' health. So I will hopefully see you next week in the next episode. Have a great day. Thank you so much for joining me on the podcast today. Head on over to our website, naturalsuperkids.com, for the show notes for this episode, as well as a whole heap of inspiration to help you raise healthy and happy kids. I'll see you next week.